Just because you can lift more doesn't give you the right to treat people poorly. I hope this gym sees...
I totally agree. Yeah. Matt, keep in mind, I'm not like even attacking Joey Swoll. I just feel like it's very obvious if you take a look at the replies in a lot of these that there is a lot of that weird incel. He seems to be pretty nice. I don't know if I'm faulting him. I don't think the issue here is with Joey Swoll. I think it's just either knowingly or unknowingly. I don't know to what extent he's aware of or complicit in it, but there is definitely going to be a bias online where if you're posting videos where you're kind of like critiquing other people for their behavior at a gym, ones where you are giving attractive women shit are going to cultivate a particular kind of response. I don't think it's Joey, though. This could be said anytime a woman appears in a negative light. Well, okay, let me put it this way, okay? Let me try to put it this way, all right? Imagine if I did a TikTok prank series, all right? And basically, the goal of my prank series was that I was going to go up to people in public and I was going to get uncomfortably close to them, like I'm pretending that I know them, and it'll be how they react. So maybe like the premise is I see my friend from behind and I run up and I put my arm around them because they're my friend, but actually they're not my friend. And I pretend that I thought that they were my friend. So you run up to a guy and you're like, hey, dude, what's up? I haven't seen you in... And then they're like, dude, what? And I'm like, oh, whoa, sorry, haha, my bad. And then you skip off. This isn't like, I'm not just inventing it. This is a real thing. Now, obviously, if you do this with 100 people and it's 50 men and 50 women, you are going to have very different reactions between men and women. Like, on average, okay? Like, if a guy randomly has a hand put around them and they look to their left and it's some stranger, they're more likely to go like, dude, whoa, 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 whoa. Whereas if a woman has an arm put around them and they look to their left, look up to their left at a much larger, much stronger person who has put their arm around them, on average, you know, their reaction is not going to be anywhere near as playful. I remember there was a video a while back where a guy would, while sitting at like a concrete bench, lay their head on other people to see how they'd react. And there were guys who would play along with it or think it was funny, but no woman did. Like, no women think it's funny when you just randomly lean on them or put an arm around them. And a ton of people in the comments were making fun of the women there. They were like, wow, the guys were all cool with it. Why are women such bitches? Why are women so fucking mean? Why are women so repellent? Man, why do women have such bad personalities? And all the people who were saying this were like 14-year-old incel rejects who have no fucking idea. Like, their brains are fucking empty. They have no idea. And even if you do this 50-50 to men and to women, and even if your content is identical in your treatment of men and women, you can understand what I mean when I say, like, the total experience of your content might end up still being really misogynistic, right? The audience you cultivate, the total, like, the overall effect of what you produce, even if you are completely impartial and neutral in how you treat things, will still end up, yeah, the audience decides what's important, and it's your responsibility as a content creator to understand how it's being perceived, how it's being treated. Again, I don't think Joey Swoll's a bad guy. It seems like he's got, I don't know, a pretty good mind for this stuff. I don't think that's bad. But it is, don't you think it's really unfortunate how even a channel that is meant to be about gym positivity is, at least to an extent, still being kind of like guided towards an affirmation of misogynistic behavior because there are so many people with a chip on their shoulder about women looking to make it about their sexist agenda? Does that make sense? Here, let's see if we can salvage this with a little bit of constructive analysis as opposed to deconstructive analysis, okay? If we're talking about gym positivity, interestingly enough, one of the most maligned and misunderstood elements of gym positivity, one that I think would be cool if Joey Swoll at some point brought up or addressed, was actually the health at every size movement. You guys remember that? Health at every size. Naturally, the name of this movement prompted like a massive wave of, you know, hard-hitting intellectual conservatives to point out that weighing 800 pounds and weighing 140 pounds do not actually have the same effect on your body, which, you know, brilliant analysis, fantastic stuff, really opened my eyes. There are two basic principles to the health at every size movement that, of course, never get addressed by conservatives, and they are this. First of all, You can't actually tell that much about a person's health based on their weight. This is an objective fact. It's not really up for discussion. It's not an opinion. There are plenty of people who look fit because they're skinny, but in reality, their body is desperately deprived of nutrients and they are dying. In fact, being lightly underweight is a lot worse for your body for being lightly overweight for options that are just kind of obvious if you think about it. There are people who are fit in the sense that they have a lot of muscle going on, but have a number of underlying health issues that have been left unaddressed. And it's entirely possible to be like really physically fit and also be kind of pudgy or even fat. It just means you're carrying around more weight. Now, obviously, and this is a fact, the more weight you carry around, the more strain you put on your body in some respects, your ankles, your heart, your lungs, blah, blah, meaning that if you could take a person of a certain level of physical fitness and then reduce the amount of fat on their body in a way that does not affect that physical fitness, then you would have, on average, a healthier person because there would then be less weight on their heart, on their knees, on their ankles, on all that crap. That is true. But that doesn't mean that you can't be healthier as a fat person than any given skinny person, depending on a wide variety of complicated circumstances. There's actually a lot of medical fat phobia in the industry where people will be afflicted with like really serious health conditions and be fat, and doctors won't take seriously their health conditions because they're fat, like a lose weight kind of thing. But there are literally thousands of health conditions that are not affected by your weight, by being fat, meaning that oftentimes doctors just won't take it seriously. We do obviously weigh way too much, on average these days. A lot of that has to do with people living in suburbs, so they have to drive everywhere, not walk everywhere. Our environments are less, accepting of casual physical fitness in the sense that it's like really difficult to just go out there in car-centric infrastructure and just go get a walk on. And also, high fructose corn syrup is in everything. Food companies have spent a lot of money saving pennies on every unit of goods produced. And the consequence of that is that they have produced like cheap, affordable, and highly addictive foods that are far less healthy than what we have today. People back in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, it's not like they were all super crazy healthy, but if you go back and look at videos of them, they were all a lot skinnier than they are today. Here, look, literally, like beach in 1970s. Not that long ago. Yeah, here we go. See? This was just your average family back in the 1970s. Not really. This is actually a bodybuilder. You can tell by the muscles. Let me find an actual picture. I think it's kind of funny that popped up as one of the first pictures. Yeah, average American at the time. Ocean Beach, 1970s, old school cool. There you go. We'll just go with this. Look, people back in the day probably did exercise a bit more on average than we do now, or at least they would have had to get around a little bit more. But the general decrease in apparent fitness over time has in large part been due to the food we've consumed. Anyway, the second big component of health at every size is the idea that regardless of how fat you are or what size you are, you should make an effort to work out. Now, funnily enough, Joey Swoll actually promotes this concept in that video that we briefly looked at, the one where he was speaking positively of the fat woman on the treadmill. This one right here, see? First day on the treadmill went like this. This one right here. When Joey Swoll is praising her for putting in the work to work, to walk on the treadmill, he is literally reaffirming the principle health at every size, that regardless of the size of your body, you can still put effort in to be healthier than you are now. But this statement, this movement, health at every size, it led people to freak out. They flipped out at the time. That's the kind of stuff that I want to see gym positivity for, especially in a country where like everyone is fat, Anyway, the lesson of the story is that exercising is good and we should all do it. Okay.